We are following the theme, Christianity as a movement, and looking at the biblical basis for this. In continuing to develop this theme, we now turn our attention back to Luke and ask the question, why did Luke write the book of Acts? Why didn't he leave it for Matthew, Mark, or John to write? They, being Jews, were surely more qualified than he, a Gentile, to write the sequel to the Gospels. Well, let's briefly examine this question. I offer a perspective that I think you might find thought-provoking. It was no coincidence that it was Luke who documented the Acts of the Apostles and that of the early church, and not one of the other gospel writers. Being the only Gentile writer of the New Testament, Luke was beside himself with excitement. He was seeing in the happenings of his day the beginnings of the fulfillment of Old Testament promises, stating that one day the door of faith and the blessing of salvation would open to Gentile nations, having been excluded from the chosen people of God from time immemorial. And Paul records in Ephesians 2:12, Gentile Luke was determined to continue writing his orderly account to ensure that all would know of this amazing favor of God towards all nations, tribes, and peoples and languages, as we find in Revelation 7:9. The times of the Gentiles had finally arrived. Let's review some of these Gentile blessings that the Old Testament records. All peoples on earth will be blessed, Genesis 12 verse 3. All the peoples of the earth may know your name, recorded in 1 Kings chapter 8. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will bow down before him, Psalm 22. The nobles of the nations come together. They are now part of the people of the God of Abraham, Psalm 47 in the New International Reader's Version. All kings will bow down to him, and all nations will serve him, Psalm 72. The earth will be filled with people who know the Lord, Isaiah 11 verse 9 in the New Living Translation. I will also make you a light for the Gentiles, that you may bring my salvation to the ends of the earth, Isaiah 49 verse 6. With the advent of Christ, the time of the Gentiles had come. The fulfillment of these promises and prophecies had suddenly burst onto the stage of human history. And Luke, the Gentile, was determined to ensure that the whole world would know about this glorious day, that it had finally arrived. Surely as Gentiles, we cannot help but share Luke's excitement. Or have we lost the awe of the significance of this age in which we live? For Luke, the world Christian movement took precedence over all else. May we all, Christians and churches around the world, capture afresh the sense of privilege, of gratitude, of amazement that God in his great mercy has offered salvation to us who were once afar off. This door to us Gentile nations is wide open, but it won't be forever. Every generation of Jesus followers has to seize the day and work towards advancing the Jesus movement to the unreached nations of their generation. How can we possibly pass from this earth without having added value to this movement? God ensures that each of us has both opportunity and resources to do so. Apathy and indifference to the greatest happening on planet Earth is so unbecoming for those who profess to be his faithful followers.